Hi, everyone. Welcome at Dropsolid ETV. Today's webinar is about frictionless customer journeys with Drupal, Mautic and Unomi. My name is Els. I am part of the marketing team at Dropsolid, and I am very happy to introduce to you our speaker of today, Leen Pendlers. She is the CMO of Dropsolid. Before we start, I have a few housekeeping rules that I will quickly explain. First of all, as a participant, you're not able to speak up or unmute your microphones. But if you do have a question during the presentation, don't hesitate and please use the chat. It's in the right side of the screen. The presentation will take about 30 minutes, so we will for sure have some time afterwards to answer all of your questions. So don't be afraid, just type them in the chat and we will come back to it later. As some of you have already seen, there's a poll right next to the chat. I invite you to answer the poll so that Leen can still adapt the focus of the webinar to tailor it to your most pressing needs. The question is, which technologies are you already familiar with? So just fill it in. We're very curious about your answers. That's it for me. I hope you enjoy the webinar and get inspired by it. With that, I would like to give the floor to our speaker of today, Leen.
This ugly echo that we had up front is gone now. It seems so. So I hope you can all hear me well. Welcome to Dropsolid ETV. My name is Leen. For over 13 years, I've been helping European businesses with their customer journeys, taking several roles from project lead to product manager and now CMO at Dropsolid. So where at Dropsolid, I'm still engaged in onboarding our clients into our digital experience platform together with the team, of course. So I'm sharing best practices and marketing insights with them. And from that angle, I also want to introduce you today to our DXP. So what this webinar is about, the purpose today is to make it a very practical webinar. First, I will touch some typical challenges that we see many of our clients are facing when they are building frictionless customer journeys. But most of the time, I will use to explain how marketing automation and personalization can help you do a better job than what you are doing as marketers already today. And I will be doing that with some hands-on demonstrations and real-life examples. So offering every customer the best possible experience, that's what drives many businesses and marketers today. Why is that? Because that's what your customers or members or citizens or students, they expect that. And if you don't do it, someone else, your competitors, they will. Maybe you think I'm not a Facebook or an Amazon or a Spotify. We believe that size doesn't really matter. Just as we see some small organizations that are swiftly pivoting and finding opportunities in times of crisis, we also believe that every organization with the right ambition and drive can really make a difference with its digital customer experience. Now, these frictionless customer journeys, what does it mean? There is a lot to say about customer experience and what it means and how to build a customer experience strategy. It's key to follow the trends in your business, but also follow the trends in digital. It's key to know your audience, know which channels they are using, which apps, where they are, and what their problems and challenges are. User experience goes beyond your own channels. It's being there where your potential customers are. And if you know who is visiting you and you know what they are looking for, then you can make your communication more personal. And it's not only about sales and marketing, it's also about your customer service. Making that better and making that excellent is an important driver. I will not go into these type of topics today, but we have another webinar hosted next week by my colleagues Annelien and Frederik about customer experience and how important it is for your business. So if you're interested in this, please feel free to participate in the other webinar as well. Right now, I want to take a deep dive in some particular areas of those customer journeys and make it more tangible and directly actionable with the tools that we are using. Because a vision without action is a daydream, but action without a vision is a nightmare. So a long-term strategy is key, but at least equally important is to ensure that from that strategy, you derive a clear action plan with crystal clear KPIs and that you take small steps and do small experiments to reach your goals and to celebrate your successes, and also to learn from things that maybe don't work as well as you expected. And that's the level that we will focus on today. So I want to use an example journey of Sophia to make it a bit more tangible in today's webinar. So Sophia is 27. She's a millennial living in an apartment in the center of Ghent with her fiancé. She's a teacher, she's very creative, and she's getting married soon. Today, Sophia is looking for an original gift to surprise her mom at Mother's Day. And while at night she's scrolling through her Instagram, she sees an ad for these original Mother's Day gifts, and this draws her attention. So she clicks on it. And this ad is a campaign from Florista. Florista is a flower shop, and she lands on the website. So there's a Mother's Day landing page with some gift ideas for different type of moms and some related blogs. And she clicks on one of the blogs about creating your own flower piece. Because we know that she came in via the Mother's Day campaign, there's some personalization on this page already. And that convinces her to download the tutorial. So on this page, we have the normal blog saying how to arrange your flower pieces. But at the bottom of the page, we added a small piece of content through personalization saying, do you want this as a gift for for someone special? Also, through her browsing behavior and the fact that she's reading creative blogs and that she's interested in this tutorial, she's building up her score for the Creative Explorer segment. So voila, she gets the tutorial she downloaded in her inbox via email, but at that time, her friend calls her about her upcoming wedding and she forgets all about it. So a few days later, she gets another email. More tips to celebrate your mom. Again, personalized for Mother Day and full of tips and tutorials, because due to her previous browsing behavior, she has been identified by our AI as an explorer. So she loves browsing creative ideas. So after we lost her the other day, because she got another phone call and she has other things on her mind besides her mom, this email will bring us back on top of her mind and will bring Sophia back to our website. And when she returns to our homepage, it's personalized now with workshops in the right upper corner. Exactly because she's in the Explorer segment, we know she has shown interest in creative do-it-yourself things before. So right from her first visit now, we can personalize her experience and get her to do more things on our website. And a few weeks later, she gets the regular newsletter, which is personalized with workshops, but also, by accident in this case, an item about bridals. And because she clicks this one again in the newsletter, she also gets added to the bridal segment. And in follow-up newsletters or in follow-up visits, she can get personalization for the Explorer segment, but also for the bridal segments. So this is one example of a single customer journey focused on capturing data about new visitors to capture their intent as soon as possible and start following up on that. Of course, in reality, you have different kind of personas, different stages in the customer lifecycle to cater for. And that can be a quite challenging experience. So when we are talking to our clients, they are often facing the same challenges for getting such customer journeys on the rail. The first challenge being a lack of insights. Who is online? If you don't know that, how on earth can you deliver a personal experience to every single visitor? So that's an important challenge a lot of companies today still are facing. The second challenge is about data. Data not being available where you need it. Disparate systems, different and constrained data models, complex integration projects. It's like this little guy. Sometimes you have a lot of data available, but you can't reach it. And if it's not actionable or usable where and how you want to have it, yeah, that can be very frustrating because then there's nothing to it. And a third big challenge is about adding new technology. It takes time, it takes budget. It's often hard to figure out upfront how well and how easy it is to really fit in new technology in your existing marketing stack in terms of compliance, compatibility, integration. So the more you can rely on existing technology in your tech stack, the easier it gets. Now, How can marketing automation and personalization enhance what you are doing today? And by the way, if you would have any questions so far on the presentation, don't hesitate to use the chat. What do you know about your visitors today? Do you know who's online, even when people are not logged in? Do you know who's reading your emails and who's not? Can you combine that data to know exactly what's the best channel to reach each individual visitor? Do you know what the intent of your visitors is? What if you would know for each individual visitor what his or her intent is after a few interactions, like we know for Sophia? What if you would know whether this visitor on your website right now has subscribed for your mailing list and used to be a good customer, but he hasn't been responsive to your emails for a long time and hasn't purchased anything in the past months? If you'd know that, you could do a little extra effort to reactivate that visitor instead of doing all kinds of marketing action on every visitor on your website. So you saw earlier what we know about Sophia. We know a lot of things and we can take action. And right now in this web session, we can take actions, or in the next email, we can take actions, or even in the next retargeting that we do on Facebook or on Google. So getting all these insights on your visitors, that's great, but it's much better if you can use it to take action. Here's a few things you could do using marketing automation and personalization. You could personalize your website for every visitor, also for anonymous visitors and for first-time visitors, for a higher chance of conversion during the session. You could also get your most engaged anonymous visitors to identify themselves so that you can keep the relation warm by sending them emails. You can only do that, of course, if you have their email address. And you can personalize your website and your emails and all your other channels as well for a consistent experience, at any stage of your customer lifecycle. So not only for prospects like I've shown with Sophia. Now, here's how marketing automation can help you get more insights in your visitors and can also help you take action. First of all, marketing automation gives you more insights. You are building behavioral profiles from the first click on your website. You know who is visiting your site, even if they're still anonymous. You know what content they are consuming. You know when someone is returning, and you know who is reading your emails. And you can combine both your website behavior and your email behavior in marketing automation. So that's really interesting. Also, you can increase your audience because your relation starts from the first click or on your website, and not only from the first deal or from the first conversion. The audience for your marketing campaigns is all your website visitors and your email subscribers. So when you know when a highly engaged anonymous visitor is online, you can persuade that person to leave his email address instead of doing mass actions on your website for all visitors. You can also increase your identification via email and also cross-device. That means that you're not targeting different devices, but when you're sending emails and people reading those emails on different devices, for example, on their desktop and also on their smartphone, you know that it's the same person. And you can link the behavior that they have on the different devices to the same person to have a unified customer profile, which is very interesting if you want to do personalization. You can also increase conversion because you can do retargeting on your own channels, your emails, your apps, which is free. But you can also do more targeted paid advertising. You can refine your custom audiences. Instead of retargeting all your website visitors, you can retarget only specific segments on paid advertising and optimize your advertising budgets. So in the end, you can keep your audience engaged by sending them email campaigns and offers to stay top of mind, by doing life cycle journeys and follow-up emails after certain actions or after non-response. And a very important one, it's the last one on this slide, is that you are, as a marketer, in control. Marketing automation puts marketers in control, and there's very little Drupal developer dependency, for example, to put forms on your website. It's all in the hands of the marketer. So you can be more quick, more agile to do new campaigns. When we look at personalization, With personalization, we also capture online behavior into customer profiles. And it goes even a bit further or a bit deeper than typical marketing automation solutions do. Each event that a visitor is doing on your site is captured, whether that's a click or a page view, even the text that someone's selecting or the text on the button which is clicked, or the fact that someone watches a video or submits a form. All these events are captured in the visitor profile. It's captured inside the session, it's captured across different sessions, and also across devices, if you can identify those devices somehow. And for a human being, that's way too much data to handle, to build segments, and to find patterns in. And that's where AI comes into place. With personalization driven by AI, we can assign 95% of your online visitors to a segment in their first visit, only after 2 or 3 events. Events being a click or selecting text or browsing several pages. We can do that real time, but we also do that across multiple sessions and multiple devices. So you keep adding data to that profile, and the AI can use all that data to discover intent and to put people into segments. And you can do that for each individual visitor, not only showing personal. This is not personal dashboards. Like after you're logged in, you get your profile and you can update your preferences. No, this personalization is for every visitor on your site from the first time they are with you, even if they're still anonymous and if you have no clue who they really are. And again, it puts the marketer in control to define these segments and to do actions on the website without actually needing developers. Using either one of them, that's good already. But if you combine both, it will make you excel because they strengthen each other. If you start doing website personalization, you're making your website visits better. But if you use marketing automation on top of them, you can bring people back to your website if they forgot about it. So that's one thing. You can extend the customer lifecycle, but also you can leverage the data from one system to the other. So the website personalization has a very deep level of intent data captured. They have the CDP segments that you can also use in your marketing automation to personalize your emails. The other way around, if you bring your marketing automation data into your CDP for website personalization, then you can make that data model richer and you can do more on your website based on the email behavior as well. So this is what we're doing at Dropsolid EXP. We're using content management, marketing automation, and customer data platform with personalization features as a combined platform, a digital experience platform, and that's what I'll be showing today. So I think it's time to go into the demo. Now, how do we build such personal experiences? I will give a demo of the 3 different components, and this is what I will be creating. First, I will be creating a personalized homepage, like we saw for Sophia, where we will personalize some parts of the content on the homepage. And we will also put a form on the homepage, both in Drupal. Besides that, we will be creating a personalized newsletter, where we do personalization based on segments. And today I want to use our own Dropsolid newsletter as an example, where we will personalize the first name on the top of the email. We will have an introduction different per segment. We will have the subject line personalized for the different segments. And we can have different topics in the email or different ordering of the topics based on a specific segment that a user is in. And I will be doing that today with Drupal, Mautic, and Unomi. So what's our approach to set up such kind of actions? First of all, we need the insight in our visitors. We need the data to be able to put users into segments and to use those segments for personalization. Okay. We will be doing that with Mautic and Unomi, and both tools used first-party cookies to capture that behavior. Of course, they're analytical cookies, so people need to give consent to put those cookies. But in the end, it's very important that it's still first-party cookies, because today a lot of third-party cookies or a lot of browsers are starting to ignore the third-party cookies. So that's good news for these tools. After we have that insight, based on that insight, we will build segments, both in Unomi and in Mautic. And then we will start to personalize content on our website in Drupal, in our emails in Mautic. But in the end, of course, you want insight in your campaigns. You want to know the performance per segment, and we will be doing that also in Google Analytics and in Mautic. I will show that right away. And in the end, yeah, based on that insight, you will, of course, see what works, what doesn't work, and you will enhance and make those experiments better. Voila, time for a demonstration. So the first part I will be showing you is Unomi. Therefore, I'm logging into Dropsolid platform, which is here. So in the CDP part of Dropsolid platform, the customer data platform, you see on the first screen here the different profiles. So what you see here is that there's 260 profiles that we've collected in the last, or that I've visited in the last 7 days, and where these analytical cookies are still working on the Dropsolid website. And here below, you can see each of them have an individual record where we can see in which segment they belong, and I will get back to that later. When the first time was that they visited us, the last time, the number of visits they had, the number of forms they submitted, the duration of the session, and the number of sessions they've had with us, and where they're from. So there's already quite some data on the profile level. If you want to dive deeper, that's the second level. There you have the events. So in this overview or in this dashboard, you will see each individual event by each individual visitor on our website. And you see that it's not only page views, but there's different kind of event types that we detect. And the cool part is that you can also identify your own event types. If you have a chatbot, for example, on your website, you can also make interactions with the chatbot into events. It requires a bit of custom development up front, but once you have it set, it's the data keeps coming in and you get really rich profiles. And what you also see here is that the richness of such events is it goes very far. For example, also the text that people select or clicked on the website, it's all being captured. And also from the text, we can detect what their interest is about. So not only the pages that they visit matter. And then the interesting part, that's the segments. So here's a few segments that we've built on the Dropsolid website. You can build your own segments from here. This is such a segment that we've built. So there's a rule-based segment builder giving you a lot of options based on all these different events that you can do and that you can combine to make your rule-based segments. But what's more interesting is these AI-driven segments. So when you start exploring, and let me get back to one of the models that we have already built. Here you see that our AI detects, and it looks a bit fuzzy, but I think that will still change, detects different behavioral segments. So here I've asked the system to build 4 different groups with similar behavior. On Dropsolid, these are groups that were detected one day, and it's the groups that you've seen reflected in the segment. For example, here is a group of people with a very strong intent about jobs. So we call them the applicant segment. There's a group of people who are interested more in technical things, web development, digital developers, audits. So it's more technical decision makers. And we also have a segment, more the business kind of people looking for digital agency. They're looking for cases, experiences, strategy. So this is what our machine learning has detected from different visitors. And each visitor on our website, after only a few clicks, based on their first behavior, gets put in one of these buckets. And from that moment on, you can start personalization. So the segments that I just described are the ones we put here. So the applicant, the business decision maker, and the technical decision maker. Those three segments I will use right away in my demonstration in Drupal. So at this point, this is the interface of Unomi. You've seen all the data that we are capturing. You see how you can build segments from that, but you haven't seen how you can use those segments to take action. And for that, we don't use Unomi, but we do that directly into Drupal. So this is the Dropsolid homepage, where I will show you right away. So this is, I don't know if this thing is still on. So let's say I'm just an anonymous first-time visitor, then the website looks like this, and I want you to look at these parts. So there's a few resources that we feature on our homepage. In this case, you see something about the DXP, the GitLab integration, and something about working at Dropsolid. And there's an award at the bottom. If I use the CDP segment selector to act like I'm in a specific segment. So this is a very easy way to test your website personalization for the different segments. So let's say I'm an applicant. Then I get to see the same homepage, but I get different content here, different type of resources. And I also get at the very bottom an additional paragraph saying, yeah, look at our open jobs. If I try the business decision maker, then same thing. I get other resources, and I get some other content at the very bottom of the page. How did we build this? It's fairly straightforward. So this is our Drupal backend, where this is our homepage, and there is different paragraphs on the page. This one being the one I just showed about coming to work at Dropsolid. And it's very simple. Each of the paragraphs has a selection where you can say, I want to show this to all the segments or only to a particular segment. So this paragraph is only shown to applicants, while this one about Drupal extended support is only shown to business decision maker. And with that, you can customize all your pages, all your content on your entire website for those particular segments. You can do the same thing or very similar thing in Mautic. So the last of the three tools, that's this one. So this is Mautic. Before jumping into the email personalization, I want to give you a very quick run through the user interface to give you a feel on what you can do with Mautic. So I think there's three main parts. There's a first part about contact management. It's actually your marketing database that you're working with, where you can see your contacts, whether they're linked to companies, and you can build your own segments. And then there's a part where you have components, campaigns, and channels, where you can build emails, build forms, and those campaigns. And there's a part about lead scoring and lead management. So looking at contacts here, these are all contacts that we are capturing in our Mautic marketing database. But the interesting part, there's a toggle here, where you also see a lot of anonymous visitors. So all these visitors, we have no clue who they are, but still we're capturing their behavior. And for example, I have here someone already with a lead score of 20. So this person came to our site, already downloaded something, being the cookie consent flow. So I have no clue who this person is, but I know he's interested in these cookies. So I could already do something with this person to retarget them on our website, because I don't have an email address, but on our website, I could already take some actions. If we take an identified person, like, for example, myself, then we know a lot more. So you know everything that a person left on your website. So I left my email address, my name, I subscribed to a number of webinars, and here you can also see that I'm in the segment Business Decision Maker. So this is the Unomi segment, which is also made available in Mautic to do personalization on. And here you also have quite a rich history or you can see all the pages someone visited, all the emails someone read, all the forms someone submitted. So there's quite a detailed overview here available as well. And segment building, you can do that in Mautic as well. It's only the rule-based segments that you can do here, but for example, you can build segments like everyone in country Belgium, and in personalization segment, business decision makers, and let's say he's also in the Mautic segment, newsletter. So you can combine Mautic segments with Unomi segments with all kinds of profile attributes that you have available to create also new segments here, which you can then use for email campaigns. But actually, what I wanted to come through is this email personalization. So I will jump to emails where I've put a small newsletter example. I've prepared that for you. So one way to personalize emails, and I will jump directly in the email builder, is by using dynamic content. So an email is created with different component types, like this is, for example, text. And this is a dynamic content element. So right here, you see that the default content is this. So people who are not in any of the variations just see this example. But people who are in the segment a business decision maker get to see this as the first article in their newsletter, or people in the applicant segment get to see something else. So this way you can use also the Unomi segments in Mautic to personalize your emails, just like you do it with your website. Very similar. If you want to take it a bit further, which is what we have done with our latest newsletter, you can also personalize the subject line, the order of components. So actually you are building, let me go to the layout builder. You are building the different variants of the email in separate emails, and then you can build a campaign to really say, this is also a multi-language campaign. For each segment in your audience should receive a different email. And that way you can completely customize the entire content of the email, and you are sure that every person in your marketing audience gets the right content. So that's two different ways. There's other different ways to personalize, but that's the two most important ways that you can use Mautic to do personalization of your emails based on these Unomi segments. And the last part of my demonstration will be about form building, which is also, I think, a very strong asset of Mautic, and also very easy for marketers to do that themselves, to follow up with follow-up campaigns, and very easily have these forms in their website. I will use this form as an example. So it's a form that all of you have submitted to register for this webinar. It's right here on our website. It's right here in Mautic. So when you get to edit the form, you see all the fields that I have available, and it's very easy to add new fields. For example, phone number. I don't want to show the label because the fields are headless. Contact field is phone. It's automatically filled in because I've chosen the type phone number. You can say whether you want that to be a required field or not. And to give it a label. And it's as simple as that. So now it's added at the bottom of my form. I want it a bit higher, so right there. And if I now save this form like that and refresh the page, it's already there. Yeah, I forgot to put the help text, but it's that easy. You don't need developers. You don't need to dive into Drupal forms. You can very easily put them on your website and update them at any time. And also you can create campaigns that start with a form, and you can do the follow-up here as well. Okay, so I've shown some parts of Mautic and Unomi to create a very simple first user journey. Now, one last thing I didn't show in Drupal, but if you're using the latest version of Drupal, it looks a lot nicer, so I put it in a few forms. If you then want to use these forms, put them in your website. It's also very easy. In your Drupal, there's a specific block called Marketing Automation Form. You can add them anywhere in your website. And when you do that, you can give it a title and some text if you'd like. And then you can simply select all the forms that you have available in Mautic here in Drupal. So this dropdown is automatically populated. So that, yeah, without any line of code, you can very easily add the form in your Drupal project. And for this, we have contributed a specific Drupal module, which is available for anyone, so that it's very easy to do. So we've got this insight in our visitors, we've built segments, we've personalized content. Just this last part we haven't done, and that's also a very cool part that I would like to show you with Google Analytics. So what we have built in our Google Analytics is a custom dimension where we are reporting on those different segments. So you see here the applicant, the technical decision maker, and business decision maker segments from Unomi. The same segments I have available in my Google Analytics so that I can easily follow up for each segment. How much sessions do they have? What is their conversion rate? What's their average session duration? So that if I would do personalization experiments for a certain segment, I can easily follow up whether they work. Do they increase the time on site or the conversions? It's very easy to follow up in Google Analytics and very simple to have it also integrated. And this is the end-to-end scenario. So you can get these insights, build campaigns, get insights in your campaigns, and use this insight to actually make them better. And again, how we've done this with Dropsolid EXP using Drupal, Mautic, and Unomi. For Unomi, it's an open source engine for which Dropsolid built the UI on top, which I've shown earlier in Dropsolid platform. And we've added also the AI and machine learning to discover intent. But in the back, there's an open source CDP that we are using to drive this. So we bring all this together in Dropsolid EXP, making it simpler for marketers to use while giving still the freedom to developers to have these tools integrated out of the box and have the developer freedom to keep innovating. So remember that being one of the core challenges, implementing new technology and integrating this technology with each other, we've tried to make that a lot simpler and attractive to both marketers for the ease of use as developers for the freedom that they can still have. If you would like to learn more about any of these components, get in touch for a more in-depth demo. We're very happy to give that. So as a conclusion today, what I hope you will take away is that investing in frictionless customer journeys is very important, no matter what business you are in. But it's challenging and it can be hard work. But still, it's worth the effort. And open source marketing tools can help you make personalized digital experience accessible to any organization. And working with open partnerships with digital experts can also help you to be more successful. Because if you want to go fast, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. This is really something that we practice and we preach at Dropsolid. We don't want to teach our customers, or we don't want to help our customers. We want to teach them and help them get better at their jobs, and we want to support them instead of just taking the digital marketing challenges out of their hands and solving it for them. We want to do it together as an open partnership and an open collaboration. So with that, I've come to the end of my session. I'm not sure whether there are any questions in the chat.
Yes, Leen, we have a question from Dieter. I will just read it. How do you make sure Google knows all the content of your website if some content is only shown to certain segments?
Well, there's always a default version of all the content on your website. So it's not that we change the entire content. It's only certain parts of your content that are only visible to certain segments. It will depend a bit how you configure the segments, which content that Google will still consume on your pages. But I also don't, yeah, it depends a bit on your personalization use cases. I also don't think you should make your entire website completely different for specific segments. It's more like putting some content on top of the page or a bit higher on the page, or making some specific, how do you call it? Stress out certain content over other things. And I don't think you will change your website completely based on the segments.
All right. If there are any more questions, just type them in the chat. While we're waiting for some more questions, Leen, I have another question for you because it looks very interesting. And while you're explaining it, every seems to run flawless into each other, and it has a nice flaw. But what I was wondering is, how much effort does it take to set everything up?
Yeah, that's a good question. It depends also a bit. There's none of our customers that come to us and say, we want a new website and we want Mautic and we want Unomi and we want the whole thing at once, big bang. That's typically not how you do such projects. You typically start with one and then start experimenting and then adding the others. When you look at the technology I showed today, personalization, it's really very simple. It's very easy to put online. It's just one script that you put in Google Tag Manager to get the data coming in so that you can start capturing your data. And it's like I shown before in Unomi, once you define your segments, and I think that's the most difficult part, deciding which segments are important for you, which segments make sense to do personalization on. Once you have that figured out, it's very easy, like I shown before, to personalize some parts on your website. You should also start with small experiments and not with the whole big bang. So it's very simple and straightforward to start with, and it will grow over time. I think the marketing automation part with Mautic is a bit more work to get it up and running because there's more content you need to create. There's also part of the strategic work, like which customer journeys make sense to build, where's the low-hanging fruit, and once you have the basics set out, it also becomes simpler. But marketing automation, it's always a bit more manual work to create all those new campaigns time after time. While personalization, it's really a matter of days to get that live, actually.
All right. And is there a way to train your team, or is it necessary to make sure your team is completely trained before starting with it?
Well, typically when we onboard new customers on both of the tools, there is a small onboarding training included in the pack because yes, you need some knowledge in your team to get going with these tools, but it's a matter of at this time an online training of a few hours for both your marketing team to learn how to use the tools, as your developers, if you have them in-house, to learn how to really customize those tools further to your actual needs. So there is a training program that we have. There's also, as these tools are open source, a lot of documentation online available.
Right. I see another message coming in from Helena. Can you make a CSV extract of your email addresses of a certain segment to set up a custom audience in Facebook or LinkedIn, for example?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very good example. You can make extracts. You can export anything from both Mautic and Unomi. Of course, in Unomi, you don't have the email addresses. So typically you want to do this with Mautic. Yeah, you can do that.
Okay, perfect. I don't see any more questions coming in. So I would like to thank you for the interesting session, Lane. I think everybody learned a lot today. If there are no more questions, then we hope to see you in one of our next webinars.
Yeah, thank you for joining. And see you soon. Bye.
Bye.